Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much again for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Nice looking pump here from Bitcoin. Wow, 3.5% ever since the little bottom there at 57.5. So this is awesome stuff. Hindsight's 2020, probably should have taken a long there, but at this point we got to find out if there's going to be invalidations or perhaps a double top coming up here. Obviously that is kind of shaping up for the moment. So this support level here, the previous resistance turned support at 58.5, really didn't do too much here. The price just blasted straight through. Of course, we got a tremendous amount of volume here. As soon as the price action was retesting its ascending trend line bearishly. In other words, typically you see the price action reject and come back down. As a result of that, we didn't see that. Okay. So again, is this going to sustain? Is it going to continue? Volume tells us it's probably likely here to stay, but we're going to look at a few other factors too and make sure we just double check everything. Okay. So if you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. Thanks again so much for watching. You've been watching for a while. Thank you even more. Deeply appreciate it. Somebody messaged me earlier and said they've been watching me since I started the channel about 4 years ago. So it's been awesome, a very cool journey. Thanks again so much for the excellent feedback. Those are my people that keep hitting the like button on every single video. And even though I do get things wrong from time to time, I'll be the first to admit it. It's okay. We learn and we continue to adjust, and we want to look for specific areas or more so cracks in the glass, right? Is this something that's going to sustain, or are we going to see a rejection? Well, if we look at liquidation, honestly, last 7 days, it's all over the place. As soon as we took our short yesterday, in the 58K range, we can see there's a tremendous amount of volume to the downside here. So a lot of liquidation is still left between 56 and 57.50. Keep in mind that's still present. It's not too far away, all things considered. However, that's becoming a distant memory here, right? Okay. If we zoom in or out and in, essentially, we can see a lot of previous liquidation still exists. Somewhere in the range here about 61.2. That's a pretty heavy concentration. Not too far off, honestly, at this point. And obviously, there's a lot of volume above. I haven't taken the time to count it. I'll count it later and go ahead and post that on our playout chart here. But the general consensus here is that we are close to some volume at 60,600. Upwards of about 61.5, 62K is a round number. Remember, excuse me, we have a small amount of that CME gap left unfilled, upwards about 62K. So again, there's potential for that as well. So just kind of throwing everything out there. At this point here, based on liquidation, further upside would make sense, considering we're closer to that upper level, and whales just love destroying shorts. They also love destroying longs too, don't get me wrong, but we are much closer to a heavier concentration of shorts in the 60 to 62K range. All right, so just keep that in mind. Now take a look here at the daily time frame. Let's go ahead and quickly understand the big picture here, or at least the bigger picture. We've already covered the macro, and the weekly does have a double stochastic convergence, so it's generally looking favorable, but there's also some neutral to bearish indicators, right? So the best way to understand the weekly time frame is that it's kind of transitioning and trying to figure out if it wants to go up or down. That happens quite a lot. That's why larger time frames can give you some really good indications, but they're also slow to progress. Daily time frame is pretty good about kind of letting us know where we're at. In a lot of ways here, we were below the 50-day SMA yesterday, barely testing the 20-day SMA, kind of holding in that little resistance range. Now, we've broken above the 50 so far today. Again, granted, we get a closure in the 59.5 or higher K range today. We'd be above that level, and that'd be a positive sign. You can also see that we're under the 100 and the 200-day SMA. And if we do take a look here, our TSI is showing good strength. I mentioned that yesterday being an indication that, hey, we're not truly bearish at all. But once more, we were below 50 on the RSI at that time. Okay, we're breaking below. However, Bitcoin, of course, has a different agenda there, pumping here. Just keep in mind, please, tomorrow is some important stuff regarding the Fed meeting, and that can absolutely alter things, right? So just keep that in mind. So this could be the pump before the dump. It's hard to say specifically. But generally speaking, lately we haven't had very favorable Fed meetings, and the price action will respond adversely to it. So we'll see here. Either way you look at it, we're coming up on a resistance here at about 60,600. We'll see if that holds here today. We can see the MACD is still converging. Stochastics looking for a second swing to the upside. So a lot of shifts of momentum here occurred in just the last couple of hours, ever since we saw that large volume pump when the market opened. Okay. And again, this amount of volume is pretty substantial. We can see last time that happened, the price action pushed towards that 60K range and tentatively broke it. We also saw some pretty magnificent volume here. That was a doji candle, basically implying that the price action wasn't willing to go any lower. Okay. And then obviously we take a look at some other candles. It's helpful to understand these things. I like to look at those just to give you perspective. We can see, of course, the pretty significant movement there. So generally speaking, anytime we see a large volume candle, the price action will sustain itself and go just a little bit further. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see the price action test this little 61K range to sweep some liquidation and then pull back after that. Or we instantly reject off of the 60,600 level, there's current resistance, and we double top, okay? There's a possibility of that too. So keep in mind, double tops are generally one of the stronger indications here of reversal. So just keep in mind, as we get closer to the top here, we can see double tops have a performance of about 75% on average, okay? So again, that's only initial. It doesn't mean the price is going to go to the floor. It just implies that we'll probably see a correction at that level, right? So it's up to you as to how you want to navigate that. But once more, we've got this large volume here in the last hour. That is a substantial amount of volume. Price action was looking like it's going to pull back and then instantly gets euphoric. At least that's how people respond when this happens and you're in a long. I totally get it. So here, take a look at the Ichimoku cloud. We can see we've broken soundly through that. Obviously, this extra volume helped, but we were getting tentatively rejecting at that point. And of course, we had that ascending trend that should have worked as a resistance, but didn't. Okay, so keep in mind, at this point, with this extra amount of volume, that does change things a little bit. Kind of lets us know, hey, that there's a decent chance the price will continue higher. Now, I hope I'm wrong in that sense, and the price does go lower, so we can, close out our short close to entry, which I think at this point is right in the low 59K range. So I don't think we're all that terrible, but honestly, it just depends on how you look at it. Let's double check a quick one other thing I want to look at here as our TPO. For today, we got a lot of strength there at 59,000 even. Okay, so if we get a closure above 59K today, that does kind of imply we're more likely to see further upside, and that's roughly the local point of control here in the last 24-hour period. Keep in mind that's very flawed and very difficult to gauge with this extra volume pump. A lot of times you see these large volume pumps, and it can hit the old reset button on most indicators. So this is good in a lot of ways, but also bad. It's hard to anticipate. But the best way to understand large volume candles is that it's a significant push in that same direction, with us we're going to close likely close to its top. So that just shows that there's not a lot of selling pressure right now. Okay, and that's essentially what's going on. Could it be a fake out and the price actions, they're just waiting for the price to get to a certain level and sell? Yeah, that's totally it. That's usually how it works. But we will see here soon, obviously, if that can sustain. So at this point, looking like there's a general consensus of the price likely to increase, but we want to wait a moment to see how this double top plays out. Okay, so just keep that in mind. But once again, a lot of liquidation up here. I would not be surprised if we see a little FU candle and the price pulls back. It's really, really common in the industry right now. Okay, that's kind of where we're at there. One last little heads up. Again, just friendly advice here. Tomorrow is the Fed meeting. Please make sure that you're careful. We're not opening a lot of positions into that meeting. I think it's advantageous to kind of keep your potential risk lower just based on how it is, because most Fed meetings, they do this little heart monitor, and then the price just blips up and blips down and just destroys a bunch of high leverage. So if you're going to trade tomorrow, I would recommend low leverage specifically, just because that's when those aggressive candle wicks occur and liquidation events can happen. So just be mindful of that. All right, that's all I got here for today. We'll look forward to seeing you later this afternoon. We'll double check what's going on here. Very excited to see what happens between now and then. But I hope you all have a good rest of your day. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Take care.